everyone, welcome back to the Kia Hyundai channel. My name is Gabi, and although the Venue might be Hyundai's smallest car, you cannot let its size fool you. This is by far the best value pick, and I must say, it could very well be the best first car you can get. It packs a ton of value, a ton of features, and a surprising amount of both comfort and space. We're going to do a full walkthrough today in live time. So this is a live stream video, no editing, no script. It's just me explaining the car to you and everything you get in the preferred trim level. Now here in Canada where we film, the preferred is smack dab in the middle of the trim lineup for the Venue. So it starts off as the Essential, that is our most cost-effective vehicle in Hyundai's lineup. Then we're at the Preferred, which is priced at $23,299 Canadian. And then one level up is the Ultimate, which introduces even more comfort and safety functions. We'll do a full walk around starting off with the exterior. So Adam, our cameraman, is going to grab my camera setup and flip it around for us.
Bring your dream home to life for as low as $30 per month for
Everything okay, Adam? Is the camera flipped? Yep, okay, perfect. So we'll start off on the front end. Now, as far as styling goes on the Venue, it is going to be more subtle. We're not going to have a ton of chrome or red styling accents. It's a little bit more demure, a little bit more calm. You'll get a matte black front grille with your typical chrome finish Hyundai badge. This is a big Hyundai badge too, so it doesn't look small and, clanky. It doesn't look cheap. For your front bumper, it's body color, and in this case, we have Abyss Black showcased today, so a nice dark black finish. For your headlamps, the preferred model uses halogen bulbs, so halogens are more cost-effective. If you do need to replace them in the future, they won't be as expensive as LEDs, and they do emit a little bit of heat. So what that means for you is, come wintertime in Ontario, snow and ice, when you're picking it off your car, you won't have to do the headlamps because it'll slowly melt the snow and the ice away. LEDs don't do that, so it's kind of a win. A couple more functions. On the lower grille, you'll notice our design is horizontal style slats. So in my opinion, anytime we incorporate more horizontal elements, it definitely widens the front end, giving the car a little bit more road presence. And although it is a small vehicle, the styling helps give it a little bit more substance. It's there. I will say the exterior, looking at this vehicle from afar, it's going to look a little tiny, but it is built much more like a crossover, even a small SUV. So as far as headroom and cargo room go inside the cabin, it's surprisingly spacious. So if you are cross-shopping or looking for other vehicles in this price point, you'll find a lot of sedans. This is really the only vehicle that hits that 23 to 25K mark and gives you this amount of space. There's a few other options here and there, but they're usually starting at this price point, whereas this vehicle is already in its middle trim level. You can get the Venue for even cheaper, getting the Essential model, and you'll lose a few functions I'll explain later, but it's still a great pick. Now I'm gonna pop the hood and we'll talk powertrain next. All right. Now the Venue only has one engine option. It is a 1.6 liter gasoline 4-cylinder engine. Now this engine utilizes MPI, or multi-point injection, not gasoline direct injection, which you may have heard of in the past. Gasoline direct injection has a little bit of a reputation for carbon buildup. MPI solves that issue and still gives you great performance, both fuel efficiency-wise and just performance-wise. We have 121 horsepower with 113 pound-feet of torque produced by this power plant. And I'll be the first to admit, those are not race car numbers, but this is a smaller vehicle and this smaller engine moves it around no problem. If you're someone with a very heavy foot and you like flying, you might have to change your driving habits with this car, but you can still get up on the highway and do whatever you need to do, point A to point B, comfortably and efficiently. Again, 7.5 liters per 100 kilometers combined. That is highway and city driving. However, from my experience, you can certainly do better with this car if you have a little bit more of a sensitive foot on the throttle. Now coming along to the wheels, I'll first mention the transmission. Can't necessarily show you the transmission, but I can talk about it. It's an IVT, which stands for Intelligent Variable Transmission. Operates similar to a CVT, which you may have heard a lot of things about, a lot of them being negative, but IVT builds upon that. It kind of solves the kinks that CVTs originally brought. So CVTs, they drone a lot. It almost feels like your vehicle is constantly in a state of needing to shift gears, but isn't really doing it. This has simulated gear shifts, so it feels much more like a regular automatic. And mechanically, it truly is different. So we use chain belts instead of the typical pulley style that we see on CVTs. So improved materials, improved performance, it just feels more realistic. It's also efficient. Now, as far as your wheels go, we have a 15-inch alloy on the preferred model. This is an upgrade from the essential trim level below it because we now have an alloy. It's not a steel wheel with a cover. So as far as styling goes and durability, it looks quite nice, operates well. Efficiency, it also doesn't hinder that either. So you're not going to notice much of a fuel consumption difference between this model and the model below. Your front brakes will be larger and they're ventilated disc brakes. Your brakes in the rear are drum type brakes. If you do want disc brakes in the rear, it's only available in the ultimate trim level here in Canada. Front wheel drive only for the Venue, but we do have some traction modes, including snow, mud, and sand, and that will change the vehicle's electronic stability control to incorporate a bit more dynamic and advanced changes for that kind of condition. So if you're driving in snow, it's going to accommodate for a little bit more slip and try to give you a better driving experience for that kind of weather. Very, very intelligent. I will say these cars also benefit in the fact that they're not as low as a sedan. So come wintertime, you won't have to worry about ground clearance as much. It's about 170 millimeters of ground clearance compared to our sedans that are typically sitting around the 120 millimeter mark. So a bit taller, a little bit easier to navigate come snowy winter times, which are never fun. I don't even want to think about it, but it's coming soon. So you might have to think about it if you're shopping for a car. As far as winter tires go, this again is a 15-inch wheel with a smaller tire, so you can fit another 15-inch set on your snow set. And that is, of course, going to be cheaper than something that requires a 16 or a 17. So the smaller the wheel size, usually the more cheap, both the steel wheel and the rubber. For your mirrors, you got body color mirrors with the turn signal indicator mounted on the side. And then in our windshield, I'm going to quickly highlight what we have in the very center. There's actually a little camera. Might be hard to see because our camera quality is never that great. But that camera watches the lanes ahead of you to provide you with both forward collision avoidance assist that can pick up pedestrians and cyclists, but also a lane keeping assist system. So this vehicle will essentially see the lanes on the road ahead of you and warn you if you're about to depart from it. So whether you're drifting because you're slowly getting a little bit more tired, it'll perk you right back up with an audible alert and some steering correction. This trim level also introduces blind spot detection. So you may have seen this in other cars before. Essentially on the mirror portion, you'll notice a little icon. That illuminates when there's a vehicle either in your left or right blind spot. It'll light up the corresponding mirror to give you a visual alert just out of the corner of your eye. And then if you're actively going to change lanes and there's a vehicle there, it'll beep at you too. So as soon as I hit my turn signal indicator, let's say towards the right, and there's a vehicle in my right blind spot, it'll beep to give me a forewarning that, hey, proceed with caution. There might be someone there. Very great function to have, and that also gives us rear cross traffic alert, which is essentially the same operation, except when you're backing out of a busy parking spot and there's cars driving up from behind you, it'll warn you to proceed with caution if it senses a car coming. Your door handles, a little hard to see because we have a black paint car today, but there is a small button on both the driver and passenger front door. This gives us proximity entry both to get in and unlock the car and to get out and lock it. So as long as the key is somewhere on me, could be in my pocket or in my bag, I'll simply walk up to either the driver or passenger door, press on this button to unlock it, and then hop right in and press my start button because this is the introductory trim to push to start ignition. We'll also get integrated remote start into the key fob, which I'll show you once we get inside. Now, quick side profile shot of the car. As you can see, it definitely has a little bit of a taller height to it. It's not going to be as short as a sedan, so great for taller drivers or people who might have to carry around cargo with them. You can really make this vehicle work. The back seats do fold down, which I'll show you in a few minutes. But the height of this car makes it not only easy to fit into if you are taller, but visibility-wise, we have a lot of window space to check your blind spots. Yes, Adam?
Is this the lowest priced car that Hyundai sells?
Yes, so the Venue is the most affordable vehicle in Hyundai's lineup, with the essential trim level being one below this, our most cost-effective car. I don't have the MSRP of that vehicle right off at the top of my head, but I can answer that question with Hyundai's website before we end off this video. This one, again, is priced at just over $23,000 Canadian, and that is the base MSRP. So it's Honestly, cars at this price point are becoming quite few and far between. It's pretty rare, and most of the vehicles sitting at around this price point will also be sedans. So just like I said, if you need something with a little bit more cargo room and a bit more height for you as a driver or your passengers, this is a great, great pick. It also gives you the benefit of a hatchback or crossover versus, you know, your typical sedan trunk. Now, let's see that benefit in action. So this cargo area has 528 liters of cargo space behind your rear seats. So not with the seats folded down, that's with these guys up. There's a ton of room on the vertical. I know looks are deceiving right now because of this here, but this cargo cover is completely removable. You simply unclip it from these hangers, and then you can tuck it somewhere in your home or even underneath the floorboard in the car. Speaking of the floorboard in the car, if you go to give it a lift, you'll notice we have a temporary spare tire, something that is being increasingly uncommon in vehicles of the size class. You can also remove the mats, which will be installed when you purchase a vehicle. Remove the mats and lower the floorboard to sit right on top of the spare tire. There we go. And I just gained ourselves quite a few extra inches of cargo space. So it sits completely flat. There's no grooves or ridges. I mean, I didn't install it properly, but you guys get the idea. And we got quite a few extra inches of cargo space over here, so more room height-wise for our goods. Now, all of our rear seats do have top tethers for your car seats. And I'm just going to fold the left side down to show you what we're looking at for total cargo space with the rear seats folded. Now keep in mind there's going to be a big height jump here only because we dropped the floorboard down. If it was sitting at its original height, this would create a flat surface, great for, you know, carrying furniture, or whatever things you really drive around with you. Let me know what you guys take in the car with you. I usually have nothing, or maybe Facebook Marketplace pickups. All right, put the mats back in because last time we forgot. And we'll close the hatch and take a look at the back end of the car. Now we have our Venue badge, bold and spaced out. Cool thing about the Venue, it's actually our only car to have a white filling in the text. So it's chrome surrounds with a white insert. Pretty cool. I'm just a total geek. That's the only thing. It's very cool to me. You may not think it's cool. For the Hyundai badge, same chrome material we see up at the front, and then we have our backup camera. Now the camera itself is located close to where your license plate would typically go. It's positioned a bit lower. It's not really impressive to look at the camera unit itself, but when we hop inside, I'll show you what the feedback is, and it's a very high quality picture. Something that other manufacturers don't necessarily do too well, but Kia and Hyundai seem to kill it. Alrighty. Regular unleaded fuel is all you'll need in this vehicle. It's got a 47-liter fuel tank, so that's not going to hurt too much at the gas pump. With current Ontario gas prices, that'll probably run you about $55. Same fuel tank I had in my Forte, now it's typically around $55 to $60. Of course, that'll vary depending on your area though, so you might be in a more high-cost fuel area. It's rough out here, but regardless, that is still a relatively small tank and the vehicle is still efficient, so it will do better than a lot of other cars. Now before I hop in, I'll have Adam give a quick pan of the interior. We have cloth seats with some white stitching on the outer portions. I love the fact that Hyundai incorporated some lighter elements. I mean, we first saw it on the Venue badge on our tailgates, but it works its way on the inside too. Just creates a little bit more fun. The car doesn't feel boring on the inside. The seats themselves will be heated with 3 different levels for both driver and passenger up at the front. And when you hop over to the preferred trim level, you also get a leather-wrapped and heated steering wheel. I'm gonna hop in, get myself comfy. Great thing about this car too is the actual entry height. So it doesn't sit low like a sedan where you kind of drop into the car. It also doesn't sit too high like a truck or a full-size SUV where you kind of have to climb in. You kind of just get in. It's easy. Again, it's just a perfect height. The seat controls are a 6-way manual, so you can adjust the height, pump it up or pump it down. You can adjust the backrest. I always have to brace myself with my hand because I've folded myself over a couple times. And then we have the option to move it on its rail. So move the seat back, move it forwards, however you like to sit. On the door card, we have a lot of black plastic. Now, I know what you're thinking, black plastic. Doesn't get much cooler than that. Well, it's really just the door cards. In the overall interior, we'll see a lot more mixed materials and a lot more fun elements. Now, your door handle is satin chrome. So there you go, breaks up the darkness. You got your power and heated mirror controls, your lock and your unlock, and then an express window for the driver with regular power windows throughout the rest of the cabin. This vehicle has 6 airbags. We also have our standard in-house sound system with no premium sound option for the Venue in its entire lineup. That being said, with our modern day cars, usually the stock sound system is pretty good, at least to my standards. I know there are some people that really care about their audio systems and are kind of audio nerds. For that, you may not love it, but there's always the aftermarket world to explore. But I think it's good. All right, now on our left side by our driver knee, we have our brightness adjustment, as well as our traction control to shut it off. Your vents are cased in a little bit more of that satin chrome finish. So is the actual toggle to open and close the air vent. So nice little touches there. Your light stock is on the left-hand side, and we have auto headlamps with auto high beams. If you're not familiar with auto high beams, essentially what it does is you'll have your headlamps set to auto for your typical day function, and then once you want to incorporate your auto high beams, you'll push the stock forward. This will turn the system on. Now, it doesn't turn my actual high beams on right now because we're in a room with enough light around us. However, if I was driving in the night and it was a rural area with no street lamps or other cars around me, it'll automatically turn on the high beams and then shut them off when either there's enough sufficient light in the area or another car it senses coming. So it's a smart system. You can choose to use it or not. At the end of the day, you still have regular high beams that you can flash whenever you need. The steering wheel itself, like I mentioned, is heated starting on this trim level, but we also have our volume and audio controls on the left-hand side. So things like your voice commands, your media mode, your volume, and then a quick button to answer a call. Now the start button here is a programmable button, so it's essentially a shortcut function. When you first get the car and you press it, it'll jump you to a menu where you can pick what it does. There's a few different custom buttons on this car. So the steering wheel one can trigger the home menu. So I'm going to press this, and then our home menu will jump right there. You may also notice there's one right underneath the touchscreen. This button has a separate function, so you can program the 2 stars to do their own thing. Very cool, nice way of integrating a little bit more custom controls to your car to make it more user-friendly. Although this vehicle doesn't have a massive touchscreen in the center, you still want to minimize the amount of time you spend away from your eyes being on the road, and that's exactly what those buttons do. All right, now on the right-hand side, we have our cruise control. Turn it on or off, set your speed, and then you can restart or pause it. And then this notepad button. The notepad button changes what's displayed on the gauge cluster. So right now we have our drive info, which we can also see since refueling, or your accumulated info. Next up is our user settings. So here's where you can go around and play with some of the driver assistance that is in this vehicle. Now the way I'm selecting and kind of switching between our options is by using these arrows, so up or down. And then when I'm ready to select, I'll press OK. That's what my hands are doing, but I'll show you guys what the screen shows. Let's head back to driver assistance and press OK to select. From here, I can change the warning volume if you find it's a bit too high or too low. Press it and it gives you a little demo. Medium's usually good. There's also driver attention warning, where the vehicle will let you know once the car ahead of you has left. This is great for drive-thrus or stop-and-go traffic. Let's say you get busy in conversation with your passenger and you look away, but while you're looking away, the car ahead of you drove away. Yeah, you don't have to wait for someone to honk. This will tell you when the car ahead of you is gone. I really do like this feature. All right, so let's head back and see our other options. As far as driving safety, we have our forward collision, which is turned on. You can change the warning time frame too, so normal or late. We can head over to lane safety and turn it on or off just by pressing the toggle, and then blind spot detection and safe exit assist. I realized I didn't mention safe exit assist when we were doing our walk around, so here's what it does. If I parallel park my vehicle on a busy road and I go to leave the car, the vehicle will sense that there's a car coming up in the blind spot right next to me and warn me so I don't open the door and risk hurting myself and others, creating a crash. So they really thought of everything with this car, which is quite cool. And while we're on the topic of parallel parking, that's another huge benefit of a vehicle of this size. It is a very, very easy to park vehicle. That's parallel parking, reverse parking, any kind of parking you need to do. It's easy to maneuver. It's also very easy to see out of. I know I'm not the tallest person, but we've had tall people driving this car too. I can see all of my blind spots, no problem. Maybe not exactly right now because this giant window sticker, my left blind spot's a little questionable, but outside of that, very easy to see out of. Even our front windshield, it is very wide and quite tall, so you have a good viewing distance. There isn't a massive blind spot caused by the pillars here, so I can see all around me. Mazerborn asked if Pat has driven this, and he actually has. Now, I will admit, being the owner of the dealership, usually the Venue isn't his preferred choice, but he has driven it and he does see the value in it. It's just not a car that's on his shopping radar. We can ask Pat if he's watching to chime in on the comments too, but he does fit in this car. We have tested him. All right, let's head back to the main menu. So this 8-inch display, it's a full touchscreen. You can adjust the brightness, but the most important thing is the connectivity. So of course we have Bluetooth audio. I mean, we've got AM and FM radio too, but their CarPlay and Android Auto is done completely wirelessly. That's something that up until recently, even Hyundai's most expensive car, or one of their most expensive cars, the Palisade, did not have. So this is quite important. So you can connect your phone seamlessly with more than just Bluetooth. You can have your maps, your Spotify, everything from your phone projected onto the screen. Below the screen, we have some physical controls too. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think it's fantastic that I can press radio and go to our radio menu. It's seriously a game changer, especially in winter where you might be wearing gloves. You just do it right from pressing a button. Speaking of buttons, we also have toggles or dials. So this is for our volume control on the far left side, and then we also have a tune knob on the right. Sorry, far left side volume, far right side tune. Very, very nice to have. Creature comforts. As far as your climate control goes, the Essential and the Preferred will share the same system. So we have our air conditioning and our heat, triggered by both the blue and the red. AC button right over here. The center will be for your fan speed. And then on the far right will be your fan direction. I want to point out that this rear defrost also triggers the heat on the mirrors too, so there's no separate button for the mirrors, they all go together. Below our climate controls, we have a USB for connectivity and for updates, as well as a 12-volt in the middle, and then a USB-C for charging. So I love that they incorporated USB-Cs. You don't find that too much on some of our more affordable vehicles, but again, more and more phones are switching to USB-Cs, and it does charge quite faster. Alrighty. So honestly, it doesn't matter what kind of cord you really have, there's a way to charge it in this car, which is quite nice. Your gear shifter is just a regular automatic style gear shifter. It's very round. And then we got our Tiptronic. So foot on the brake, you can put your car into drive, and upshift, downshift at your convenience. Now below that, we have our drive and traction modes. So by twisting this dial, I can change between eco mode, normal, or sport mode. They also change the gauge cluster theme. If I press that button down and twist it, I can go between snow, mud, and sand. And that'll of course give me the optimal settings for those kinds of weather or road conditions. Your heated seats and heated steering wheel are all around this section here, so left-hand side for the driver, of course, and the right for the passenger. Unless you're watching from across the pond where everything is reversed. All right, we have our handbrake, regular handbrake style park and brake. That means come wintertime, you can impress your date with some handbrake turns. That's something you can't do in the Palisade. Just kidding. But it is nice to have an actual manual handbrake, especially because you can control the amount of brake force to a degree versus an electronic parking brake. It's either on or it's off. So this is a little bit more controlled if you do need to use it for emergency stopping and not just to hold you on a hill. You know what I mean? Let me know what you think about that. Have you ever had to emergency stop? The first time I ever learned how to drive legally was my dad took me to, we were driving on the country roads, and it was my old Kia Magentis, or my family's old Kia Magentis. It was a hand-me-down. So we were driving the car, and I'm going to show you guys the passenger seat as I talk about this. We were driving the car, and my dad said, okay, brake here, and then we'll do a U-turn. I go to brake, and my foot went to the floor. The brakes gave out. This was an old car with very high mileage. And I said, Dad, it won't stop. So because there was no one around, we just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And he said, pull the parking brake, which I did. And it was a controlled stop. He ended up driving it all the way to Brantford from Ancaster with just the handbrake because he is a cool guy. And he's also a professional driver, I will say that. But yeah, so it's great to have an actual manual handbrake at the end of the day. E-parking brakes are cool too, but manual handbrake has more control. Anyway, enough about that rant. Let's take a look at the back seats. I'll hop in just a second. Adam will give a pan of the back first. So our seats here are that same cloth material with this nice stripe insert on both the main seats. You still get the same white stitching throughout, so style remains unchanged in the rear. Like I mentioned earlier, you do have car seat tethers on the back of all seats, including the center. And as I hop in here, we'll take a look at what headroom's like. So, again, another thing, cloth seats, come summertime, they don't bake in the heat as much as leather does, so a little bit more comfort. Headroom-wise, I seriously have a ton of space. There's a lot of room in this car, and the seats, while they are in a fixed position, have a nice amount of recline to them standard, so I don't feel too upright and polished. I can relax and fall into the seat a little bit. The middle seat is, of course, going to be the worst seat in the house, but it ain't too bad, especially because the center hump doesn't go too high on the car, so my feet aren't too raised. Sitting here, I have a good pan of everything happening in front of me. I got a lot of headroom still, although the seat is elevated. I have almost a full Gabi hand, which if you didn't know is bigger than a normal hand. And I have room to put my feet on the sides around me as long as I like the people sitting next to me. Now this seat is kind of configured strangely. I don't know who did this, but I've got a ton of room behind it. My knees are still not touching the backing of the seat, and there's room underneath for me to put my feet to, so I'm not being pinched. I have space around me. The door cards have a bottle holder on the very bottom. One thing that this trim level does not have, or the Venue does not have, is a center console. You know, that armrest that drops down. That does not happen in the middle seat here. It's just a fixed seat. All right, I think that's about it for the interior of the Venue. I'll have Adam show the glove box and the shelf above it. I realized we didn't get to show that earlier. I'll explain it while he's doing it. So right up above our glove box, we have a small little shelf that I would think is perfect for putting your sunglasses. I wouldn't leave them there overnight, maybe depending on your area. And then underneath, if you'd like to open up the glove box, Adam, you can see just our standard size glove box. Only the Preferred and the Ultimate trim levels have this sliding center console. So if you want to use it as an armrest, you can slide it forward to accommodate you better. And then of course it also opens up to provide you with a little bit of covered center console storage. It's actually a pretty deep console, so there's a good amount there considering the compact size of the car. Now, if you guys want to hear more personal things, today I drove a 2016 Nissan Micra. They don't make them anymore, probably a good thing. It was also a compact car, a very affordable car. It's great for commuters, it's great on gas, and it's a relatively affordable vehicle to purchase, especially brand new. But that car felt cheap. It felt like a tin can. You hear everything. If there's a bird flying up above and they caw, they make a noise, you're hearing it. You hear everything. This car is a lot quieter. It's definitely a more enhanced sound deadening cabin, which I like. It's a comfortable ride. Although it's a more affordable vehicle, it doesn't feel like you're driving a tin can, which is a win. Adam has a question.
Someone said, doesn't Michael drive one?
Michael? No, he drives an old Hyundai Accent. Yeah, he doesn't drive a Micra. He does drive a Nissan. It's a 370Z. Very different than a Micra. Yeah. Very different. But I like that you said that. That makes me laugh. I'm going to tell Michael about that. I'm going to flip the camera over and we'll answer some questions. Adam, could I ask you a favor? Mm-hmm. Do you think you can grab my iPad? Because we're going to get the pricing for the entry trim level. I promised I would tell you guys that, so.
Oh, Ryan answered that in the chat as well.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I might just find Ryan's comment and repeat it then. Gabi says she has a lot of space in the seat like she's 6 feet tall. Guys, you know what? I'm not the shortest person ever. I'm 5'4". But there's a lot of room above my head. Seriously, a lot of space. People are saying the Micra was a great car. Yeah, it was a great car. It did its job, but let's not lie. It wasn't a comfortable car for the most part. It's just a car. This is a car that has some more creature comforts too. Let's see. The best cars in the world have been affordable cars. Beetle, Mini, 2CV to name 3. Yeah, honestly, smaller cars are a ton of fun. So sure, this vehicle may not have a ton of horsepower, a ton of torque. It's not trying to be. No one ever said it was a sports car, but it's got plenty of get up and go to get you to your destination efficiently. And because it's still small, it's nimble, it handles nice, it's fun to drive. It doesn't need a ton of power to make it fun. So if you guys ever heard it's better to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow, this is the car they were talking about. Let's see, any questions? When will Charlotte be back? Just wondering. So she just had her baby last month. She's gonna take some time off. I believe she has a year mat leave, but she will definitely be in at some point to film videos. I just don't know what that's gonna look like yet, but baby's still fresh. She wants to spend some time with her family. Maybe, let's say in a few weeks or a few months, she might wanna do maybe 1 or 2 days a week, and we're just gonna kind of roll with it as it goes. So I said, Charlotte, take your time, do what you gotta do. Oh, thank you so much, Paul. I just saw, oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you, Paul, specifically, but thank you guys also for being on today and just supporting us. We appreciate you so very much. I just want to answer Mazurborn's question real quick. He asked, how much can this SUV tow? So it's not actually rated to tow. It's not recommended. Now you could put, let's say, a bike rack or something on the back, but I would certainly not tow anything with the car. What is the standard warranty and maintenance plan for the 2026 Venue in Canada? Does it differ from other Hyundai models? So the only models it would differ from really would be our electric cars. Our electric cars do have an extended warranty for the electrical components, what makes an EV. For our typical cars though, they have 5-year, 100,000 kilometer warranty, and that's the powertrain warranty and the comprehensive. Let's see, anything else? I believe in the States you guys get 10-year, 100-mile. Ryan said that the MSRP of the Essential or the introductory trim was $21,299 Canadian, and again this one is $23,299. So $2,000 upgrade, and let's list what you really get with the preferred model. So you'll get the alloy wheels instead of the steel wheels that the Essential gives you. You'll also get a push-to-start ignition with integrated remote start. You'll get a heated steering wheel. You'll get some enhanced safety functions, so things like our blind spot detection. Oh, is this okay, Adam? It's just, it keeps moving. Those are the main upgrades that you'll get in this trim level. What's the maximum kilometers this SUV can drive at? The top speed? So I believe most of our vehicles are speed governed for 180 kilometers per hour, outside of things like our EV6 GT, which I think is 230 or 260. But the top speed is the speed limit for whatever road you're on. But yes, it's not a race car, you guys. It's certainly not a race car. It handles nice, it handles fun, but it is not a race car. Okay. I think we're at 32 minutes on a Venue, so I think we'll end off today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. You guys make my job so much fun, and if there's any other questions in the future, whether you're watching this now, in real time, or a week from now, a year from now, let me know, because I'm always checking the comments, and I will be happy to answer them. In the meantime, we'll see you again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.